Hey everyone, welcome to the show, Your Health in Your Hands. I'm Dr. David Ajibade with the Brain and Body Foundation. Now, if you remember, last week we had the dynamic duo of Tifal and Chi talking about health. Health coaches, one is a doctor, the other is a health expert, all kinds of stuff that they're talking to us about when it comes to health. But really, folks, health is not that complicated. There's some basic things. If you get right, you will be able to see significant changes. It's not just about you, it's about your family as well, your kids, your parents. These are things that you want to take back and use to educate your loved ones so that they don't keep on making the mistakes that they are making all the time. And we talk about these things a lot. If you remember, we talked about brushing your teeth, sleeping well, having good sleep hygiene. These are all factors that people tend to overlook and in the end tend to cost them. So health is about what you do. And I really want to emphasize that. It's about what you do. It's not how you look. It's not how you feel. It's about what you do. And one of the things you want to make sure that you're doing is that you're staying abreast of your numbers. And that's what Tifal and Chi are going to be talking to us again about. We're going to get into the details this time. So yes. Tifal and Chi, how are you all doing?
Great. Well, thank you for having us back.
Nice you guys are fantastic. Fantastic. I love the pink. I don't know.
Thank you.
Black looks good, but the fab, this is much.
Yes.
Yeah. Am I going to get one of this? I mean, this looks.
Of course. Of course. Yeah. This is, how fab. So we talked about, how fab are those five and the importance of knowing your numbers. And, a lot of times we know a lot of things, right? We hopefully, know our credit score, we know our numbers. People talk about different things, but we want to make talking about your health and knowing those numbers a thing. Like how fab are your five? And not knowing that number is not a good thing, right? Ignorance is not bliss when it comes to your health, right? And once you know better, you do better. So I like how you started your segment talking about it's not just about the person. And when we talk about our platform, we talk about it being very personal, but being practical. So we talk about practical ways where people can make changes in their life. It's very intentional and it is generational changing. We strongly believe that if you learn how to eat a certain way and incorporate activity into your life, you teach that to your children. You do that with your parents, your siblings, the ones you care about. And so when people say, oh, this runs in my family, we always have diabetes. Everybody in my family has high cholesterol. The question is, how are they eating and what has been passed down from generation as norm? And one person can change that trajectory. So I love how you frame that as you open up the segment. Yeah.
That's perfect. And
thank you. It's all about what people do. Yeah. So I don't want to take a single more minute away from what you have to do because I really want us to go into this. I'm going to be on you. I'm going to be asking questions because we want to be clear. I want to make sure that Yasikira or Yamodi, who's in the remote areas, understands what we're talking about so that at least she can apply some of these things. So how do we start? We're going to start with the Fab Five?
Yeah, sure. So, we're talking about, you just mentioned people in the remote places. So no matter where you are, think about how we grew up. I grew up in Ibadan, right? Mm-hmm. My parents cooked every day. My mom did shopping. My dad did shopping. Whoever shopped, because children don't have access to the funds to do grocery shopping, right?
Right.
So it starts somewhere. That's the Fab Five. Getting your Fab Five to be right starts at the very, very beginning of childhood. Whoever begins that process dictates how things go down the line. Because we know that children, by the time they're 5 years old, they've already formed all the cells they're going to have for the rest of their lives, right? So everything else we do prior to that period is building upon those cells. Defining whether they're going to be this way or whether they're going to be this way or how they're going to be shaped going forward. Mm-hmm. So making those good choices right from the very beginning, making healthy choices right from the very beginning is so generational changing. That is why my wife said it's generational changing, because if you can teach your children, if I teach my children in Ibadan, in Lagos, in Enugu, in Kano, wherever you might be in the country, how to eat, there is a good probability that they would teach their own children as well how to eat and how to exercise. We sat on the trees when we were young on the UI campus. We sit under a tree. We had a guava tree. My wife.
We had all kinds of trees. Just eat fruit. And bike and play soccer till you were sweating up a storm. And sometimes, with globalization and stuff, kids now stay indoors, they're on their games, so making physical activity the thing to do, making eating healthy fruits and vegetables the thing to do. And I know that, one of the things we also want to do is, we talked about those 5. And again, if somebody didn't watch the show last week, we talked about blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, your body mass index, and your waist circumference, right? 4 of those 5 are very easy to get. 2 of those 3, you don't even have to have seen anyone, your waist and your BMI. But we also want to say that, it's important to know the other numbers, your blood pressure, blood glucose, because you could have high blood pressure or hypertension, right? What people call it, or sugar or diabetes or sugar problem, whatever people call it. And not know until so many people have come into the hospital with a diabetic coma for the first time before they even knew they had high sugar. So it's really important to think about getting those numbers and checking and knowing what the normal should be, but also knowing that one of the things we find is there's a disconnect between these conditions and what they cause, right? People don't necessarily they're like, oh, this person was fine then had a stroke. Or this person was at work and just had a headache and couldn't talk anymore. Or this person had renal failure. They're like, oh, kidney failure. But walking back to the fact that they had uncontrolled high blood pressure or controlled diabetes. So to be able to have people understand, like you said, those medical conditions are, what the impacts are on your organs over time. And in addition to whatever it is your doctor or nurse or healthcare provider prescribes, what are the other factors that affect that? We know that nutrition affects your blood pressure. It affects your blood sugar. It affects your cholesterol, all of these things, right? So it's that connection between what the condition is, knowing about it, but if you have it, how do you manage it? And if you don't have it, what do you need to do to prevent it? And those are kind of the 5. And I think you had said why the 5 is because if you can get blood pressure, diabetes, and cholesterol under control, that affects a lot of the top conditions that adults ill with.
Yeah. Like for instance, now mentioning kidney diseases. What most people don't realize is that hypertension and high blood sugar are the 2 most common causes of kidney failure. Right? There's a need for dialysis, and dialysis centers are exploding all over Nigeria because people are just coming down with kidney failure, just simply because they were careless or negligent about their hypertension, their blood pressure, and their blood sugar. And that needs to stop. We need to be able to. That's why I love what you guys are doing, and I hope you get more involved in the Nigerian situation so that we can help to educate. You cannot overemphasize the importance of this thing. It's rampant, especially people. Again, with the whole spirituality thing, the whole thing in that it's not my portion. This is not under my control. It's under God's control, someone else's control. These are things. Some of the things that we have to educate out of people. So I really want to encourage you guys.
We absolutely do, and that it's not inevitable, right? People just think, well, once you have this, it's going to happen, and it's not just in Nigeria. You brought that up, but even in the U.S. dialysis centers are exploding because Medicare covered. Yes. And a lot of it has to do with kind of going back to the basics, to the prevention, right? And we talk about primary prevention, which is to prevent something from happening, but even secondary prevention, when somebody already has high blood pressure, like, we're going to meet people who already have high blood pressure. Some people we work with already have these conditions, but you can prevent the progression of it. It doesn't mean because you have diabetes, you're going to go blind, have your legs cut off and go on dialysis, right? We see that at the other end, but there are things you can do. So it's really about, talking to people and helping them prevent these chronic conditions. But when they do have them, to prevent complications of these things, right?
And what I just wanted to also share was that we want people to understand that it's actually a very easy process to prevent. You know, it's actually a very easy process. Like, again, it's also because many people don't have access.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we talk and people are like, well, I don't have access, you know, I'm suffering from this disease or whatever, or I don't have this or I don't have that. But there's simple things we are trying to teach that can actually make a huge difference. How much water are you drinking at home? How much movement are you getting every day? Are you moving? Are you getting up? Are you outside? Are you just playing games at home? Yeah. What are we teaching lifestyle-wise? 90% of people who have type 2 diabetes is lifestyle.
90%.
90% is lifestyle.
Wow, I didn't know that much.
So if we can do that, and not only that, here in the US, about 80 to 90 cents of every dollar in the US here is attributed to lifestyle disease management. That's 90 cents of every dollar they spent. 90 cents of every. So you can see how much lifestyle, just changing lifestyle, eat better. And when we talk about Fab 5, we're not just talking about eating and exercise, but also mental health.
Right.
We're also talking about sleep, stress management, how stress impacts your body. You know, so all these things are all connected. So we look at you, and when I meant you, the human being, as a 360-degree fashion. Yeah. That's the way our platform looks at health and wellness. It's 360 degrees. So we have health, nutrition, and mental health, sleep, all that, exercise, all that focus on one platform.
All connected.
All connected.
Yes.
Fantastic. Yes. I love it. Yeah. I love it. Okay, so we're going to take a short break now. And then when we come back, I want to ask you a tough question.
Okay. Sure, we love tough questions.
Ask a really tough question. So,
okay.
You can handle it, I'm sure. Folks, do not go. We'll be right back.
All right.
All right, welcome back. All right. Now, this question really is about what I refer to as the tyranny of the genes. Now, think about me. My dad is short and stocky. Yours truly is short and stocky. And as a matter of fact, these last months I've been here, I've gained even more weight. I probably gained like 15 pounds. And part of it, my excuse is the winter and all that. But people look at me and they say, you look like your dad. You talk like, even say you talk like your dad. You even walk like your dad. And somebody saw me do a presentation one day, and it's funny, Tifa. It's funny. Both my parents, they watched me. My father's sister watches at a different time, and then my mother's sister watches the same show. And they both at the same time said, "You're presenting like your dad."
Oh wow.
And I'm like, I've never tried to. I was sent to military school when I was 10, so I didn't really have much to copy, right? But it's like in the genes. And I'm speaking about that. I look at you, Tifa. I know your mom. Your mom is one of my favorite people in all the earth. And I know we're working together on the sickle cell project. I knew her 25 years ago. She hasn't changed much, except for a few wrinkles here and there, but she hasn't gained any weight. I've known some of your sisters. So my question is, when people see you and they say, well, it's easy for her to say that. How about if for ladies who have grown up, they've always been obese, how are they going to, when they measure their waist, is it that easy for them to lose weight? I mean, can we get some realistic attention to this?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that question. So you talk about the influence of genetics and how important that is, and how easy it is to lose weight, especially once you're getting to middle age and there's a hormonal stuff of menopause and a lot of things, right? So you are absolutely correct. Nobody says it's easy, but when you want to get to where you've never been, you're going to have to do some things you've never done. And that's just part of life, right? And so one of the things that we talk about in our mission is to empower people to be the best version of themselves, not to be anybody else, right? To be the best and healthiest version of yourself, right? And so one of the ways we go with that is having people discover their why. Why is it that I want to be healthier? Because until you get there, there's going to always be a disconnect. So yeah, sometimes you have people where they say, oh, my mom, my grandmother, everybody in my family is a certain weight. Everybody is has medical conditions. But if we know the import of lifestyle, and as Chi talked about how the cells are laid, even our fat cells are laid very early, is that when the fat cells are laid very early, so you're actually building more fat cells, your foundation of fat cells is larger. So it may not show when you're a kid, but as you get older, as you start to, those cells expand, you just have more cells. So not just do you have a hyperplasia of cells, you also have hypertrophy, which happens with aging. So you just have more, which is why it's important. Even though the kids may not show any of these weight changes, some kids do, some don't until they're getting to be middle, teenagers or later. The other thing we also know is that some of that is generational. How people have always eaten and how people have approached exercise generational. So you say how much of it is genes, how much of it is that everybody has done the same thing a certain way. But when you get to a point to understand that there's more beyond the cosmetics, it's not about fitting into something. It's like knowing that that waist circumference that's over 35 in a woman, over 40 in a man, is associated with heart disease, stroke, and early death. Then you say, what do I need to do? And that's a commitment to a change in your lifestyle, in how you eat, how you physically exert yourself, and how you really take on that challenge. Not to look like somebody else, but to be, is this really the healthiest version of yourself? Sometimes you need to see the doctor. They're like, oh, maybe women have more thyroid issues, right? In midlife, check your thyroid, check your hormones. Are you going through menopause? And then really take an honest look about, are you doing the best with what you're eating and the carbohydrates and how you're metabolizing things, and how are you exerting yourself? There's something about women, sometimes we get to a certain age, we kind of take it easy, right? Yeah. We go to parties, and when we talk about exercise, it's not about going to the gym, it's about exerting yourself. Are you walking fast? Are you doing things? Are you dancing? A lot of us, we get to a certain, when you spend so much time putting the face together and the hair, you don't want to sweat it out. But you got to say what's more important. They had a campaign here in the US, talking to Black women in the US about hair or your life. They actually had to do that. Like, if your hair, your edges are good because you don't want to sweat, but if you're getting heart disease 10 years younger than your white colleagues, is it worth it? So figure out a protective hair for yourself. Also, when you go to parties, late at night, we do a lot of parties. Parties, things like that. Making the right choice, not eating carbs late at night, and also getting up to dance. If you're 50, 60, 70, 80, get up and dance, sweat. Don't just sit and be cold. We need to exert ourselves. We need to eat differently, and we need to use ourselves as our competition, as long as you're going the right direction, not to look like somebody else. And it's not easy until you've committed to it. So the long answer to your question is yes, it can be done. Lifestyle matters. It may be different. Everybody's trajectory is different. Everybody's built different. And if any program says, I promise you're going to look like this person, just say no. You need to look like the best version of yourself. And, talking about guys, you asked me about girls. What about men in terms of?
Well, there's a lot of things my wife talked about. Everything applies across the board as well for men as well. So my wife talked about exerting yourself. There are only two ways that you actually lose weight. Only two ways. You exhale carbon dioxide from your mouth and you excrete fluids from your skin. If you don't exert yourself, those two things will never happen. They can't. They happen when you go to a party to dance. They happen when you're dancing with your family at home. They happen when you're outside taking a walk. You always have to exert yourself. And sometimes you find out if you have problems with your heart, if you exert yourself and you can't, you're out of breath so quickly. So that's why oftentimes stress tests are done for people who are having heart issues. Mm-hmm. So for men, you're going to think about it. You're going out to have a party or to party with people. The time you eat, a lot of times it's not even just about what you eat, but even the times you eat. You can't go to a party at night and eat at 12 midnight or 11 o'clock at night, finish your party and go to bed at night because the food has not metabolized. So you're just storing tons and tons of high glycemic index foods in your system that ultimately becomes fat because you can't burn it while you're sleeping. Nobody moves around and dances while they're sleeping, right? So these are the kind of things. So, and especially, and when you're not sleeping well, your body will also, secrete cortisol, stress levels, which builds up around your midsection. So there are a lot of things that will happen when we don't exercise, when we don't eat well, when we don't eat at the right time. It becomes so complicated in the way these things impact our body. So we just talk to people. Go ahead, Dr. Ajibade.
Quick one though. For those who, for some reason or the other, cannot do what you just said, exercise. Bad knee, bad hip, what happens then?
Yeah. So you're right. There are people because of surgeries or certain things or age or arthritis or something that cannot do those, can't be as physically active. But this is where we come in. These are the kind of things we teach people, and things like simple, just customizing it to who you are. We meet everybody where they are. So we don't expect, like my wife talked about, everyone is different, right? We don't expect anybody to be like the next person. We just want you to be the best version. And being that best version could be somebody who's starting off being arthritic, could be somebody who's starting off being overweight, could be somebody who's starting off being skinny, but not eating well.
But cholesterol
is too high. So you may still be lean, but have arteries that are blocked up and clogged with cholesterol.
Okay, so there's a solution. So there's a solution no matter what. It just needs
no matter what. That's what we're
correct.
doing.
And that's where our personal platform comes. When we meet with our coaching clients, is we talk about your why. You need to know why you want to do this. We talk about where you are, medical problems you may or may not have, limitations, and then customize things. And we talk about tough love for yourself to say, I want to do this, and I'm doing this for somebody, And, when my husband was talking about, tough love and when people eat, it used to be, people would feed their partners or spouses a big amount of carbs, and it was so good he fell asleep right after he ate. That is a bad thing. If your partner
don't say anything bad about it. You can talk about something else, maybe about something.
Portion size. We teach portion size. We eat all of that, but it's about portion size.
What you eat and when you
I agree. Yeah, so let's talk about that in the last few minutes. We want to talk about food, especially from the African perspective. We have a few more minutes, but I really don't want this to end without us talking about that. So tell us about let's talk about food.
Sure. So did you want to continue that now, right?
Yes,
so,
yes.
One thing I wanted to share, you talk about food, right? So Dr. Ajibade, I'm sure you know about the blue zones around the world. There are places called blue zones around the world where people live to up 100 years old and they're still active, they're moving, and they have good psychosocial support around them. One thing about these people, one very common theme that run across these people, and they live in Sardinia, in Italy, in Greece, in Chile, there's a place in California. It actually went to grad school. Loma Linda, that's correct. That's where I went to grad school. So these people they start looking at what is common with them. They make healthy eating the easy choice. So, and bad eating became an option, right? So you want to make the healthy eating an easy choice. It comes to you, boom, quickly.
So let's talk about specifics now. We want to talk about specifics. So yes, we mentioned reduce your portion size, because we are very, very into starch on the body and the brain than even the regular soda. So stay away from that.
Stay away, yeah. And if you actually do this, there could be, we talk about the health benefits and the way you feel, the way you look, how you feel, but it has financial implications for what's going to happen in your older age, right? If you're blessed to live, do you want to be healthy and active, or do you want to be, with chronic medical conditions, spending all your time going in and out of doctor's offices? And also financially, if you're not buying packaged processed food and orange juice and stuff, it has short-term and definitely long-term financial benefits for you.
But it's still a little expensive to actually eat healthy too. Or don't forget, it's still we would have to concede it's still a little expensive to eat healthy food too.
Correct.
Unless you grow them in your garden or your backyard.
Well, Doctor, you make a point there, right? But let's know. We would like to frame it that it's more expensive to treat chronic disease than to eat well. So
it's all about
what are you looking at today, right?
Yeah. So okay. All right, folks. Tifal and Chi, you guys are the best. Awesome.
Thank you.
It's an absolute delight working on this. And I hope that our viewers will take these things to heart and really act on these things. But you have really treated this topic really, really well. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're very passionate about that.
We are.
And there are lots of topics we'd love to come back, talk about gut biome, talk about, intermittent fasting. There's so many different things that we'd like to share with your audience. So, you know where to find us. We know where to find you. So,
and give us the website address again. What's the website address?
www.tfalandchi.com. So tfalandchi.com.
Yeah.
One word. Yeah.
One word.
So drink more water, get active, and lots more vegetables and fruits, and make the starch the side. Rice cannot be your main domain anymore. Rice needs to be the side that comes out once in a while. Okay?
You people didn't talk about bread either, so no problem. When we next time.
That's another topic.
Bread is like rice, and it's like, yes.
All right.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
We can talk about bread.
All right, folks. It has been fun. Thank you for joining us, and remember to check out our old videos and, of course, Tifal and Chi website, and then be sure to join us next week. God bless.
Yeah, we enjoyed it so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay.
Nigeria, our great nation with vast and rich land. Our people are strong and united. Our founding fathers, Sir Ahmadu Bello, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, and a host of others bequeathed us a united, peaceful and prosperous Nigeria. Let us honor them by living in peace with one another. Let us eschew violence, ethnic profiling, and religious bigotry. We must avoid hate speech and other forms of derogatory words against our fellow Nigerians. Let our differences in tribes, cultures, religions, or politics be the ingredients that make our unity palatable. Let us all join hands to fight our common enemies of insecurity, poverty, and unemployment. Nigeria is big enough for us all. Let's unite to make our country a great place for us all. This message is from Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation in collaboration with Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
Imagine a station where you access information. Think of a station that creates awareness for national development. Imagine a station that prepares you for a bright and greater future. A station for all ages. Documentaries, classroom and television, events coverage, children's programs, and variety shows. Always stay tuned to NTA Knowledge on the StarTimes platform, channel 359. For partnership, sponsorship, and advert placements, contact us on NTA Knowledge. NTA Knowledge, learning to broaden horizon.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Well, there's a mirage of things. So I think, first of all, we have to go back to you are very well known for teaching skills. Your students speak a whole lot about you.
Miss Nigeria competition.
I said, let's pick them up, let's take them back to Nigeria, and let's teach them a different kind of job.
Hello, nice to have you on the show. My name is Elizabeth, and as you know it, it is the woman. I will start by giving you a little bit of write-up, then I'll tell you where it came from. And it simply says, Nigeria has some of the most entrepreneurial people in the world, but access to financing, network, and growth remain a challenge. I believe empowering women is critical to Nigerians' development, but educating these women is the real silver bullet. That is a popular saying, or write-up from my guest today. Who is this guest and why is she so concerned about women? Find out soon after this time. You're welcome back. If you just joined us, you're right on time because I'm about to showcase one of the youngest, very successful women, not just in Nigeria, but in the world. She started early to do a whole lot of things. And let me start by saying that she's a multiple recipient of different awards. She is an international development expert. She is an innovative agricultural strategist with particular leaning to ecosystem solutions. And she's a leadership trainer and consultant. She is a research fellow. She is a writer. She is, well, so when she was younger, I don't know if she's still doing it now, a chorister. Ndidi Okonkwo Nwuneli. Nice to have you.
So glad to be with you.
You know, I try to cut down the profile so that we can have time to discuss, because I'm sure if I kept on reading, it would take about 25 minutes and the program will be all gone. I hope we'll be able to masticate all that you have been doing and are still doing before our time runs out. But I see Sahel right on top. I'll get to talk about that. But let me start from the quotes which you gave out some time ago about women empowerment and education. Talk to me about it. What informed that?
Well, I have been blessed, first of all, to have been born into a home with two academics. My parents are professors, and they prioritize education above all else. And I really believe that they celebrated all their children and believed that both male and female children could achieve their highest potential. And they could do whatever they set their mind to. And educating us opened us up to a world of support and a world of opportunity. And oftentimes women entrepreneurs complain about, limit access, financing. And I say, get education, get the skills. Everything else will follow. If you're excellent at what you do, if you have mastered what you do, you will have no hiding. In fact, funding will be chasing you. Partners will be chasing you because you have been identified as an expert in your field. And that's really the mantra that I preach. Excellence and integrity has no hiding. And with education as the foundation, the world is your oyster. You can do anything you set your mind to.
I like that. The world will be your oyster if you understand what you're doing and pursue it the right way. And that actually led to your setting up what you call the NIA. NIA is drawn from the Igbo words Ndu, Ike, and Akunuba. Let me let you translate it.
Yeah, so NIA actually means purpose in Swahili as a word, but it stands for Ndu, which is life, Ike, which is strength, and Akunuba, which is wealth. And the vision behind NIA was to ensure and empower women to achieve their highest potential, matching them with mentors, providing them with training, and enabling them to soar in whatever career they had selected for themselves. And NIA was started over 10 years ago, and I'm so proud of the NIA ladies I meet all over the world because they're doing great things.
Okay, tell me, what are the things they're doing that you consider great?
Well, many of them have become entrepreneurs. Many have become partners in leading law firms. Others have actually become teachers and trainers and professors. But what has struck me about them is that they've been fearless about achieving their dreams. And what we taught them when they were in university, because NIA is focused on university students in 5 universities in southeastern Nigeria, is that don't let your gender stop you. Don't let what the world expects of you stop you. Determine what God has called you to do on this earth and fulfill it with everything in you. I'll tell you a quick story. One of the NIA girls came to our program. She had gotten into medicine at the University of Nigeria, and her parents said, no, we don't want you to be a doctor, we want you to be a nurse, because we don't want you to become, someone nobody will marry, or you won't have time for your family. She actually studied radiology instead, graduated top of her class, and said, I still want to study medicine. I still want to be a doctor. She applied again and got into UI. Same thing. They said no. She applied the third time just to prove to them. And through NIA, we encouraged her to achieve her highest potential and supported her. And today, she has decided she's a doctor. She's achieving her dreams. That's just one example. I believe women should be fearless because you've been given one chance. You've been sent here by God to achieve your highest potential. Go for it with everything in you, believing that God who has put you here will equip you to achieve and to die empty.
When you say that, I feel, more empowered because I truly believe that the world, especially in our own culture, this climb, it has a way of putting a woman at certain enclave and asking you to remain there when at the end of the day, if you manage to come out, you actually get to achieve more, not just for yourself, but the entire society. Talking about society, I look at your society as in the picture I am seeing, your background. The first thing that came to my mind is, oh, she likes farm work, but I know you're not a farmer. But your agricultural strategies. Talk to me about it. That's the reason behind the Sahel. What have you been able to do with that?
So about 12 years ago, I felt a strong leaning to enter the sector because I saw that we were naturally endowed for agricultural excellence as a continent. And there's no reason why we should be net importers of food, why we should have high rates of stunting. 1 out of every 3 Nigerian child is stunted. 1 out of every 3. It's unacceptable. And so I decided to enter this sector and started a range of initiatives. Sahel Consulting is one, unlocking the agriculture and nutrition potential of the region. We work in dairy, in seed systems, strategy, nutrition, policy. And in Nigeria, we're implementing the Advancing Local Dairy Development Project, where we're linking nomadic communities, helping them settle and linking them with milk processors who buy their milk on a daily basis. And we're transforming the lives of millions of people. I believe this agriculture sector that we've neglected for so long is the silver bullet to get us out of poverty, to grow our GDP, to create employment opportunities. But we need to stop thinking about agriculture as a sector for those who want to stay in poverty, where you use a hoe and cutlass. We have to start seeing it as opportunities from farm to fork. If you're a chef, you're in the agriculture sector. If you make furniture, you're in the agriculture sector. If you're in the fashion industry, you're in the agriculture sector. Everything you use in your industry is sourced from the agriculture sector. And everybody needs to eat at least 3 times a day. So we all need food. And across this sector, there's opportunities for mechanization, for processing, for financing, for insurance, for even big data. So we should stop thinking about it as a poor man's industry and rather as an opportunity for women to make money, to change lives, to empower themselves and their communities.
See your emphasis on women, and I know that at the point, in order to empower women, you also started what you call the LEAP. That's the Leadership, Effective Accountability, Professionalism. How has this worked to turn around women and your need for empowerment for them?
So LEAP Africa was started in 2002 to really inspire, empower, and equip a new generation of African leaders. And I started this organization because so many people used to tell me as a young person, you're a leader of tomorrow. And I said, what does tomorrow hold in a country where the life expectancy is 56 years old? We have to start leading today. And so what LEAP does is empower young people to be leaders of today and tomorrow. When you're young, you have energy, you're willing to take risks, and you're willing to engage in social change projects. So LEAP empowers young people. We have a range of programs. One of our programs empowers teachers to deliver a curriculum to 14 to 16-year-olds across Nigeria, and now we're working in 6 African countries, where we help young people build life and leadership skills, and then also help them start change projects to improve the lives of others in their communities. So they become social innovators and social entrepreneurs. And this has been mind-blowing. I mean, when I look at the LEAP alumni across the world, I'm so excited about what they're doing. Some of them have run for political office. Some of them are CEOs in their own right. Many of them are leading change initiatives. And LEAP works with both men and women. So LEAP is not like NIA, which is just focused on women, but with LEAP, we emphasize gender equity. We believe that no leader can survive in this world without understanding the valuable role that women play and the need for equity and the need to close gaps when it comes to pay gaps, when it comes to discrimination. A leader who is going to transform any environment needs to understand that women are equal contributors and equal participants in the transformation required in our country and in our continent.
You know, women are not just equal partners. I think they're critical partners because by natural disposition, we are multitask and multi-thinkers. So if you get us more involved, you get more achieved because we can actually do a whole lot at the same time. Now, speaking of which, I want to take you a little bit to what you just said about working with the young people. A lot of times, for me, I try to work with them and I find it quite a lot of task. What do you think is the problem with the young people? I mean, what do you think is the militating factor against them, you know, stopping them from really taking that giant leap and succeeding in life?
I think the biggest challenge that we're facing with our youth is the issue of mindset, the way we think. And that's why with LEAP, we started with, let's change the mindset of our youth. Let's make them realize that they're leaders of today and tomorrow. They're not victims, they're assets. They're not victims, they're assets. I want to emphasize that because in our country, we often see young people and say, oh, you know, they're unemployed, they're underemployed, they're area boys, they're nuisances. And I don't want to quote some of the famous things we've said about our youth in this country. I believe Nigerian youth are Nigeria's biggest asset. What do they have? They have energy, they have skills, they're intelligent, and they're willing to take risks. And our challenge is to galvanize these youth to become agents of positive change in their society. And let me tell you, madam, when you actually do that, a light bulb goes off. When you help a young person believe, you know, you can shape your future. You can, it doesn't matter what's going on in your environment. You can transform your environment. They start believing that they can. They start building this leadership muscle and seeing them evolve from victims to assets, from victims to leaders is a phenomenal experience. And that's what LEAP has been doing for the last 18 years. We have something called the Social Innovators Program. In fact, we're having it on October 1st and 2nd this year, where we recognize young people who are doing phenomenal work in their community, where we celebrate them, because we're showing alternative role models to the role models that you see who have gotten rich quick, who have stolen money, who are internet fraudsters, to seeing young people who have worked hard, who have applied themselves, and who are leading, who are making a difference, who are impacting the lives of others. So we celebrate them. We have them all over Nigeria and all over Africa. I mean, one of the ones I love so much, who was one of our awardees, her name is, she started a company called Mama Money. She started as a house help, Mama Money. You have to have her on your show. She started as a house help, and she's now a social innovator. What does she do? She gives loans to single mothers like her mother to start businesses. She's helped hundreds and hundreds of women all over Lagos State by applying her own experience, which might have seemed like a disadvantage, which today is an advantage because she can connect with those women in ways that I can't, in ways that other women can't, because she's been there and she's now empowering women. She's been celebrated across Nigeria and across the world for her pioneering work. And she's just one example of a social innovator in our ecosystem. And there's so many more. So I think Nigerian youth are our biggest asset. And we as people in positions of influence have to galvanize them, have to support them, encourage them, empower them with the skills, and let them win, let them soar.
You know, these youth you talk about, how are they taking the innovation in the agricultural sector we earlier talked about? I'm interested because it's their strength and energy. We need, of course, creativity as well to be able to propel forward.
They are definitely embracing digital technology. They're embracing new ways of doing things. We see companies like Farm Crowdy, which was started by young Nigerians, providing crowdfunding for farmers across the country, leveraging digital innovation. Just a few minutes ago, I had Angel Adelaja talk to my CWG. She started Farm Direct right there in Abuja, using containers to grow vegetables to supply to restaurants and hotels. Yes, soilless farming, aeroponics. I mean, when you see what our young people are doing in agriculture, it excites me and energizes me. Sahel Consulting actually goes to universities. We have a Sahel Scholars Program. We train young people. We tell them agriculture is your future. It's not your past. It's your future. It's exciting. It's vibrant. You can make money. We give them scholarships. We give them internships. And guess what? People who didn't want to study agriculture, who it was their fourth choice or fifth choice option in university, are now running to the sector.
I have a message here. Somebody is asking me how they can, tap into the program you have, as single mothers. If they want to reach you, how should they, begin to go about that?
Okay, so on Twitter, you can send me a message at Ndidi Muneli. Please, all the young people interested in agriculture, go to nourishingafrica.com, www.nourishingafrica.com. You get access to financing, training, support. It's free. You'll even get jobs. And for NIA, definitely send me a Twitter hand. We also have a website, and we have sahelconsult.com, nianigeria.com. So just check out all of those platforms. And Leap Africa, www.leapafrica.org, leapafrica.org, and please participate in our SIPA coming up on October 1st and 2nd. It's a phenomenal platform to inspire young people to get involved in social change, social action, and transformation.
All right, now you know how to link up and see what you can, tap in and use if you are interested in all that she said. But then moving on a little bit, as a woman, I know that, by the way, congratulations. Recently you were, recognized as one of the social innovators of the year. I know you and your husband in May some time ago, you were at Harvard Business School as the first couple to give a lecture. Congratulations on that. I want to take you back to your family angle. With all the job you do, how do you manage? Because it looks like between you and your husband, one thing you just met the other day, because you have time for each other. How do you coordinate?
Well, I've been married for 19 years to the glory of God, and I've known my husband for 27. We met in university as university students. But being a working mother is not easy. Combining all of these things is not easy. And I have a few strategies. Number one is I'm very dependent on God. God is the source of my strength and the reason I live. Number two is I have a very close group of friends and family members who help me. It takes a village to raise a child. I have two beautiful children, and it's taken a village to help me. When I travel, people step in to help so that the children don't miss me too much. And number three, I run my home like I run a business. I try to be organized. I buy in bulk. I do a lot of these practical things that I learned from my big aunties and mentors when I was a new mother. You never want to come back and people say they haven't eaten because there's no food in the house. So even when I'm traveling, I make sure that everything is under control. And that takes a lot of discipline and a lot of hard work. But it's not easy. Do we drop balls? Yes. Are we not perfect? Absolutely. I don't want to paint a picture of perfection. But with God on your side and with a strong support network, you can do it. Don't be too afraid to ask for help. Be vulnerable. So many of us don't want to ask for help because we think it makes us look weak. Asking for help and being vulnerable makes you stronger, makes you human, makes people understand that your battle is shared with them. There are no superhumans out there. All of us are just work in progress, trying to die empty and to fulfill what God has called us to fulfill.
Right. I know that when you were in the university, in fact, back in your days as a college girl, you were somewhat involved with the choir.
Yes, I was.
Do you still sing?
I love singing, but I'm not going to sing for you this early morning.
I just want to know.
I actually love singing. I love gospel music. And if I wasn't doing what I was doing, maybe I'd be a producer for gospel music.
I was thinking you would say maybe you'll be a gospel music star. I didn't know you would be a producer.
No, I think my time has gone for being on the front lines, but I'll be behind the scenes, celebrating other young talents and making sure that other people get into the limelight. Because we have such great talent in this country, such great talent, and we need to hear more voices out there. And music connects us. Music connects people in ways that maybe only football can. You know, it connects cultures, it connects tribes, it connects religions. It's an amazing unifier. So I would love to see us celebrate more indigenous Nigerian music.
You know, with no hard feeling to football lovers, I still think that music connects better than football.
I agree. I agree with you, but I know that sometimes a friend of mine who wrote a book on how Nigeria is most united when there's a football game with Nigeria against another country. I feel that that's the same way with our music. We could connect. It connects you. Your soul is connected when you hear good music, and I think, you know, I would love to hear more music in indigenous languages that's originally composed by our people, because I think we have so much to celebrate and so much to share, just like our food. Our food should also be celebrated on a global stage. That's one of my passions and one of the things I'm pushing as well.
Definitely. I would not go until I've asked you for a pattern word for two sets of people. The women, there are a lot of women who think we are just at the end of it. I can't go beyond here. They don't see that silver lining. And then same for the youth. The world is ahead of them. What is your word for them?
So I'll start off with my word for youth. I think this is a great time to be a young African and a young Nigerian. There's so many opportunities available to you. You need to just look inwards and find out what makes you angry, what gives you joy, what you are born to do. Search until you find it. And when you find it, give it all you have. Commit to a life of integrity and excellence, and the world is your oyster. You can reach your highest potential if you apply yourself to your God's given purpose. And to women, I want to tell you that you're an asset. You're beautifully and wonderfully made. Don't let anything that anybody has spoken against you pull you back. Dig deep within yourself. You are stronger than you can imagine. We ended a Harvard speech, and I'll end this with an Igbo proverb, which says, Mbelede kaja madike. It's during times of crisis that you see who is resourceful, who is resilient, and who is brave. You woman, you are resourceful, you are resilient, and you are brave. It's during these times of crisis that COVID-19 has presented us that you will soar. So look inside into that reservoir that God has given you, to pull out all that you have to deliver to the world. And may God bless you as you thrive and as you soar.
Thank you so much. I want to pick on the last thing you said. You took it in the middle. In Beledeke Jamadike. But also say that, that you said in Beledeke Jamadike. Thank you very much. We are all resilient. So it's been wonderful having a chat with you. Thank you. And keep up the good work. Once in a while, I'll come around and have a beautiful chat with you. And best of regards to your family.
God bless you.
Right.
Great talk.
Thank you. We've been talking with our guest who has been very excitedly, if you permit me, I'll use the word exuberant as to what she does, because she loves them and she does them real good, from agriculture to other sides of it, youth, leadership, women, everything put together. I'll just leave you what she said. Women, you are beautiful inside out, and you must hold your head straight. Hold your heads high and think of your children, think of your family. That way you think about the society. My name again is Elizabeth Abai, and our chat today has been with Ndidi Okonkwo Wunin. See you again next time.